The room was filled with music, the soft rhythm of a piano, the delicate steps of little feet tapping along. It was supposed to be the perfect night, the culmination of months of rehearsals, planning, and anticipation. My daughter, Maya, was about to have her first ballet recital, and I couldn't have been more excited. But then, something happened that would turn this dream into a nightmare. But before we continue, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell for updates. Mid-step, I saw her. My daughter, only 6 years old, was up there, graceful, full of potential, her delicate frame moving in perfect harmony with the music. Then, without warning, a hand grabbed her. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. Her shoe slipped off, and she tumbled, falling hard to the stage with a loud, painful thud. The music continued as if nothing had changed. No one moved. I couldn't believe it. My heart stopped as I watched Maya lying there, still and helpless, the audience too stunned to react. I tried to push my way forward, but everything felt like it was happening in slow motion. My hands were shaking, my mind in complete disbelief. What just happened? Then I looked up. My eyes searched for the person responsible for this. I found her. Ava, my sister. She didn't apologize. In fact, she didn't even seem bothered. Instead, she walked toward me with a cold, almost casual expression, and without a hint of remorse, she said it. "She doesn't belong up there." The words hit me like a ton of bricks. I was speechless. I had to blink twice, trying to process what she had just said about her own niece. How could she say that? But there was something else, something deeper about the way she said it. It wasn't just a comment about Maya's ballet skills. No, it was something darker, something personal. I stood there, frozen, my daughter crying behind me. And Ava? She was already walking away, like the words didn't matter, like the harm had already been done. But I couldn't let it go. Why did she say that? What was going on with her? What was the real reason behind it? I couldn't just let this slide. And in that moment, I realized that everything I thought I knew about my sister might not be true anymore. It felt like the room was closing in on me. My mind was racing, my heart pounding in my chest. Maya was still on the stage, sobbing, her little body trembling. The audience had barely moved. I could feel eyes on me, waiting for some kind of reaction, but I couldn't tear my eyes away from my sister, Ava. How had she done this? How could she have been so callous? My mind was spinning. In all the years I had known Ava, she had always been blunt, always had something sharp to say. But this was different. This was cruel. She hadn't just criticized Maya's performance. She'd dismissed her as if she didn't deserve to be there at all, as if she didn't belong. I had to act. I didn't care about the audience or the recital anymore. I couldn't just stand there, pretending that everything was fine. So I rushed to Maya's side, lifting her up as gently as I could. She was crying hard now, her little face covered in tears. "Maya, honey, it's okay. It's okay," I whispered, trying to soothe her. But inside, I was anything but calm. I glanced at the stage again, searching for Ava, and found her standing off to the side. Her arms were crossed, a smug expression on her face. I wanted to shout, to ask her why she had done that to my little girl. But I held it in. I wasn't going to make this worse for Maya, not now. I helped her off the stage, leading her toward the backstage area where she could calm down. My heart ached for her. This was supposed to be a proud moment, a memory she would carry with her. Instead, it was turning into a nightmare. And there, in the corner of my eye, I saw Ava approaching. Her words were already ringing in my head, but I needed to hear more. What had she meant? I don't know what you're so upset about, Ava said, her voice cool and detached. It's not like this is a big deal. I couldn't believe my ears. You pushed her, I snapped, my voice rising. But Ava just shrugged, her expression unchanged. I didn't push her, I just gave her a little nudge. She didn't deserve to be up there, Jenna. The words stung. I was so shocked by her complete lack of remorse that I could hardly breathe. And you think that's okay? I demanded. Her eyes flickered with something that looked like impatience. Yes, I do. You're pushing her too hard. You always do. I felt the anger building up inside me, but then Maya's soft voice interrupted. Mom? She asked, her tear-streaked face peeking around my side. Am I okay? I turned to her, my heart breaking all over again. You're perfect, sweetheart, I said, pulling her into a tight hug. But all I could think was, how did we get here? The tension in the air was thick as I stood there, holding Maya close, the weight of Ava's words hanging between us. I tried to focus on calming my daughter, but my thoughts kept spiraling back to what had just happened. Ava's actions had been hurtful, but it was the coldness in her eyes that really got to me. She wasn't just dismissing Maya. She was rejecting her, like she wasn't even worthy of being a part of our family's milestones. And that was something I couldn't let go. I looked at Ava, still standing there, arms crossed. What's your problem, Ava? I asked, trying to control the tremble in my voice. Why would you do that? She scoffed, rolling her eyes. Oh, please, Jenna. You know how I feel about all of this. You act like Maya's the next big thing, but she's just a little kid. This is supposed to be fun, not some high-pressure competition. It felt like she was talking down to me, like she was the expert and I was the naive one. But I wasn't the one who had just pushed my niece off the stage. My chest tightened. This isn't about competition, Ava. It's about supporting Maya. You should have been there for her. Ava stepped closer, her expression hardening. I'm sorry, but I just don't get why you're putting all this energy into something that doesn't matter. You're setting her up for disappointment. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Ava was always the one to play it cool, to be the skeptic in the family. But this was something else entirely. She didn't just doubt Maya's talent, she doubted Maya herself. It was as if, in her eyes, Maya didn't belong in the world we were trying to build for her. I opened my mouth to respond, but then Maya interrupted again, her voice soft and fragile. I don't want to do ballet anymore, Mommy. I just want to go home. My heart shattered. The thought of her giving up something she loved because of this, because of my sister's cruel words, was unbearable. I knelt down to her level, wiping away the tears from her cheeks. Sweetheart, you don't have to give up anything. You don't have to listen to Aunt Ava. But Ava, standing just a few feet away, scoffed. Oh, right, because sheltering her is going to do wonders. She needs to learn how the real world works. The anger I had been holding in finally broke free. Ava, you have no idea what you're talking about. Maya is a child. She deserves our support, not this negativity. Ava crossed her arms again, her eyes narrowing. Maybe you should wake up, Jenna. You've been living in a fantasy world, and one day, Maya will realize that. I was furious. I wanted to shout, to scream at her for everything she had said and done. But I knew that wasn't the answer. Maya was already fragile from the fall, and I couldn't let her see this side of her aunt. Just as I was about to say something else, I noticed Maya watching us, her little face full of confusion. Why don't you like my dancing, Aunt Ava? She asked, her voice trembling. Ava froze. I could feel the weight of her hesitation, her reluctance to answer that question honestly. She looked at Maya for a long moment, her face softening ever so slightly. "I don't dislike your dancing," she said finally, her voice quiet but distant. "I just think you might be aiming too high." The words felt like a slap to the face. I wasn't sure who I was angrier with, the sister who should have been supporting me, or the woman who didn't see how much damage she was doing. I looked at Maya, her big brown eyes looking back at me for reassurance. And at that moment, I knew something had to change. No matter how much Ava was part of our family, I had to protect Maya at all costs. But how could I protect her from something that felt so deep-rooted? The air in the room felt suffocating as the tension between me and Ava built. I could feel Maya's hand in mine, small and trembling. She was clinging to me, trying to make sense of the mess around her. I kept my gaze fixed on Ava, who now stood a few feet away, her arms still crossed in that defensive way she always had when she was cornered. But this time, I wasn't backing down. I couldn't let her get away with this. "Maya is not some project," I said, my voice shaking with frustration. "She's a little girl who deserves to be celebrated, not torn down." I felt the heat rise in my chest, the anger that had been building up inside me ever since Ava's words left her mouth. Ava's eyes flickered briefly with a mixture of irritation and something else I couldn't quite place. She took a step toward me, her voice suddenly lowering, becoming almost eerily calm. "You don't get it, do you? You've always been so wrapped up in your little perfect family narrative. But reality isn't like that, Jenna. You're setting her up for disappointment. And one day, she's going to hate you for pushing her so hard." My blood ran cold. Ava had crossed a line, and I wasn't going to let her drag me or Maya down with her. "You don't get to tell me how to raise my daughter," I shot back, my voice louder now. "You've always been the one sitting on the sidelines, criticizing everything I do. But today, you pushed my daughter off the stage, and I'm done letting you talk down to her. To us." Ava stood there, her face unreadable. I could see the anger in her eyes, but there was something else, too. A crack in her armor. For the first time, I noticed how tired she looked, like she had been carrying around something heavy for too long. She didn't say anything for a moment, and the silence between us was thick, suffocating. Then, in a soft voice that barely reached my ears, she spoke. "I'm sorry, okay?" Her words were quick, almost like she was trying to swallow them back. "But you need to stop living in this fairy tale where everything is perfect. She's going to fail. She's going to get hurt. And when she does, you're going to have to deal with it." The apology felt hollow, as though it wasn't for what she had done, but rather a defensive reaction to the truth I'd just thrown in her face. My heart clenched. I didn't want to hate her. She was my sister. But this was too much. I glanced at Maya, who was still holding my hand tightly. Her face was pale, but she was looking at me, waiting for some kind of reassurance. The disappointment in her eyes stung more than anything Ava had said. My little girl was already learning lessons she shouldn't have to learn at her age. She was already feeling the weight of adult problems. I crouched down to Maya's level, my hands cupping her face gently. "Maya," I whispered softly, "I don't want you to be scared. You're amazing, and you'll always have my support, no matter what. I love you so much." Maya nodded, her lip quivering. I kissed her forehead and stood up. "Ava, I need you to leave," I said, my voice steady now. "This isn't the time for us to have this conversation. Maybe we'll talk later, but not now." Ava hesitated, her face a mixture of frustration and something else. But she didn't argue. She turned and walked away, her footsteps echoing in the quiet space, leaving me standing there with Maya, trying to piece together the broken pieces of this night. I watched Ava walk out of the backstage area, the door clicking shut behind her. Maya, still quiet, squeezed my hand. I couldn't help but feel a deep sense of relief. But there was a new weight in the air, too. The realization that Ava's actions weren't just a one-time thing. It wasn't just about the recital. Something had been simmering under the surface for years, and I had to face it for Maya's sake. I couldn't ignore the fact that Ava had been quietly undermining me for a long time. I didn't know what the future held for my relationship with Ava, but one thing was clear. I would do whatever it took to make sure Maya never felt like she didn't belong. She deserved the world, and I was going to fight for her to have it, no matter who tried to tear her down. The minutes passed slowly after Ava left, the weight of everything settling over me like a heavy blanket. Maya was still holding my hand, her small fingers curled tightly around mine, as though she was afraid to let go. We were standing in the quiet backstage area, surrounded by the fading echoes of the recital's music. I could feel the tension slowly draining out of me, but there was no easy resolution in sight. My sister's betrayal, her hurtful words, still echoed in my mind. But in that moment, nothing was more important than Maya. I knelt down to her, looking into her wide eyes. "Maya," I said softly, my voice full of emotion. "I need you to understand something. What happened today? It wasn't your fault, okay? You didn't do anything wrong." Her lip quivered, and she wiped at her cheek with the back of her hand. "But Aunt Ava, she said I didn't belong up there." Her voice was barely above a whisper, and it broke my heart all over again. I pulled her close, hugging her tight. "Sweetheart, Aunt Ava was wrong. You belong exactly where you are. You're talented, you're kind, and you're perfect just the way you are. No one can take that away from you." As I held her, I felt the flood of emotions crash over me. I was angry, devastated, but most of all, I was scared. I was scared of what my sister had done, of how she had hurt Maya, and of how much damage those words could have caused. But the most important thing was, I realized, that Maya would always have me. Always. No matter what Ava said, no matter what happened with the rest of the family, I was her mother, and I would protect her fiercely. I stood up and turned to leave, helping Maya walk with me. As we stepped into the lobby, I saw Ava standing near the door, her arms crossed again, watching us. My stomach twisted, and for a moment, I wondered if I should confront her again, say something that might ease the hurt. But I knew it wouldn't matter. Ava had made her choice, and now, so had I. "Maya, let's go home," I said, my voice steady, my heart full. "We're going to forget about today and focus on what really matters." As we walked toward the exit, I realized that this wasn't just about the recital. It wasn't even about Ava. It was about me, and about Maya, and about the kind of mother I wanted to be. In that moment, I knew I had made the right decision. I wasn't going to let anyone, especially not my sister, define Maya's worth. And as we left the building, Maya's small hand slipping into mine, I felt a sense of peace I hadn't felt all night. The darkness of the situation was fading, and the light of my daughter's future was shining brighter than ever. But before I could think too much about what was to come, I heard a voice from behind me. "Jenna, wait." I turned to find Ava walking toward us, a hesitant look in her eyes. My heart skipped a beat. Was she coming to apologize? Was she finally ready to admit the damage she had done? I'm sorry," she said, her voice softer now, with a sincerity I hadn't expected. I I didn't mean it the way it came out. I don't know what got into me. I stood there, caught between the anger I still felt and the part of me that wanted to believe in my sister. But I knew better. Ava had her issues, and it wasn't my job to fix them. I appreciate your apology, Ava, I said, my voice calm but firm. But the damage has been done, and right now, all that matters is Maya. Ava looked at my daughter, who was standing a few steps behind me. Her expression softened just a little. I get it, she said, before turning away. As we walked out into the parking lot, I knew that things wouldn't be the same between us. But that wasn't the most important thing. Maya and I had each other, and that was enough. The hurt would heal with time. The bond between sisters could be broken, but my love for Maya would only grow stronger. And no matter what anyone said, no matter who doubted her, Maya would always have a place in this world, one that I would make sure was filled with love, support, and encouragement. I glanced down at Maya, her innocent smile returning as she squeezed my hand. It was time to leave all the hurt behind and start fresh. With my daughter by my side, I knew we'd be okay.